Superhero movies. If you've breathed on this planet any time in the past 14 years, you've at least heard of them. They're everywhere. They're there when you're driving, they're there when you're eating, they're there when you're shitting, and as I was writing the script I found out that they're even there while you are fucking. Listen, I think you get my point. Everybody and their grandma has seen a superhero movie before. They have proven to be incredibly financially successful. 14 of the 50 highest grossing movies of all time at the box office are superhero movies, with Avengers Endgame sitting at number 2 in box office sales. Now, even with such massive financial success, why do you see so many people absolutely shitting on these movies, especially the new ones? If so many people are buying tickets to see these movies, then why are audiences so critical of them? Well, it's because the market for superhero movies is extremely oversaturated. First of all, there are a lot of movies. Not just a lot, there are too many movies. There's so many, in fact, that people claim that there aren't enough theaters or showtimes for there to be room for smaller movies because of how much of those are taken up by new superhero movie releases. Yes, smaller movies will still be in theaters, but just one superhero movie coming out means that almost every theater in the USA is going to have 1 or 2 theaters completely booked for the movie the entire day. You can make the case that they are killing smaller, more artistic movies, but it really depends on if you like or care about those movies, so take of that what you will. Some people also make the case that they are just bad movies. Now, I don't entirely agree with this. There are good comic book movies out there with interesting plots and characters, because the inherent idea of making a movie around a comic book character isn't inherently bad. In fact, if done right, can be better than most movies out on the market right now. It's just the companies who own these IPs are trying to min-max the shit out of these stories and universes. What I mean by that is the movies are very safe and formulaic in order to appeal to as many people as possible. This is great for Disney and Warner Brothers trying to make a shit ton of money, but it leaves audiences with a shallow, repetitive, and sometimes cringy movie. I guess you could make the case that this is how it's always been, but at least with the early MCU, these were some of the first times these characters were used and being explored in theaters. As world-renowned film director Martin Scorsese once said, these movies fucking wait, hold on. Yeah, I don't think he did say this, but what he did say, though, was honestly the closest thing I can think of them as well made as they are, with actors doing the best they can under the circumstances, is theme parks. It isn't the cinema of human beings trying to convey emotional, psychological experiences to another human being. You know, 90% of these movies are exactly as he says, theme park movies. While superhero movies still convey basic human emotion, which, is kind of a given considering that people make them are human, Scorsese doesn't consider superhero movies cinema. By that he means the movies aren't meant to convey deep human emotion and experiences like the movies he enjoys. Since most comic book movies are a bunch of pointless CGI action and barely go into depth with the characters. One of Martin's movies is Taxi Driver, a story about a 26-year-old man named Travis who gets a job as, well, you guessed it, a taxi driver. During his night shift, he has to deal with the immorality and filth of New York City, which over the course of the movie slowly gets to his head, as he sees more of the true side of what goes on in the city. If you haven't seen it, I highly recommend it. Now, when you compare it to most Marvel and DC movies, you can see the stark wait a minute, No, this isn't even like a bit or anything. I didn't even note that I put stark difference in the fucking script. If Travis was a villain in the MCU, forget about having genuine motives or making him relatable at all to the audience. Forget about an in-depth backstory. Give him one scene where he sees a PG-13 safe, violent crime happen on the streets of New York, and have him yell about how he's gonna fix the city. But then right afterward, cut away to Spider-Man hitting the gritty or doing something goofy that's just completely unrelated to the scene. Now, what if that wasn't the case? What if there was a comic book movie that had a really good plot and actually went into depth with their characters? Luckily, that movie does exist. In my opinion, the best superhero movie in the past 2 years has definitely gotta be The Batman. The movie has very little of the problems most superhero movies suffer from. There's so much good about the movie. The art style and tone of the movie really make Gotham feel like a shithole. The soundtrack is amazing, but most importantly, the movie's antagonist, the Riddler, is absolutely perfect. Now, the original design choices for the Riddler are, well, for the lack of a better word, really goofy. But in The Batman, the Riddler's adaptation is perfect for the setting of the movie. His outfit isn't silly at all, and a lot more gritty, which makes it perfect for the tone of the movie. Although this is great and all, this isn't even what makes him stand out from the rest of the other superhero movie villains. What does make him stand out is his motives and reasons for his actions in the movie. Unlike most supervillains, the Riddler has actually agreeable motives besides,
I'm very evil and I want to kill everyone.
he was motivated by his drive to abolish the corrupt government of Gotham City and promised to his online followers that he will save Gotham in many, well, definitely morally questionable ways. This is what makes him such a realistic and relatable villain. Unlike most other supervillains where they get a 10-minute scene detailing their backstory as well as their plans to take over or destroy the world. Listen, for there to be a perfect hero, there always has to be a perfect villain. A villain that challenges the hero's morals and makes the audience question who's the correct one in their actions. Now, what I'm wondering is what's stopping the MCU and DC movies from being like The Batman? You can't make the argument that it isn't as financially profitable, as it performed better in box office sales than most of the superhero movies in 2022. I mean, to be fair, it was a Batman film, so it was bound to be successful, but my point still stands. It was a non-sequel, unlike almost all of the superhero movies of this year. It was also a lot more edgy with the tone of the movie and its advertising. Well, most of its advertising. I know this video changes nothing, because Disney is making too much cheddar for them to stop putting out their CGI movies made with borderline sweatshop conditions for the special effects teams. I mean, if you like superhero movies, go ahead. I don't really care, as I like some of them myself, and I also can't stop you from liking what you like. Also, they're just movies at the end of the day, so don't bomb my house just because I had a differing opinion than yours. Wait, before you click off the video, I have something really important to tell you. I have a Discord server now. You can give me like video suggestions and feedback, and also be notified immediately when I upload it, because it's like an instant notification instead of like YouTube, where it's like a 20-minute notification. So yeah, it should be in the pinned comment. Go check that out. Anyways, that's it.